In the culture war, there are no winners, just podcasters. Only a few are willing to risk their lives in the face of some of the dumbest ideas to have ever captured human civilization. Every week, we, Megan Daum and Sarah Hayter, humbly accept this mission in order to bring you conversations that are equal parts stirred, shaken, and occasionally cringe. Welcome to A Special Place in Hell.
Occasionally. I think we can go for
cringe.
Often cringe, at least. I'd
say, so somebody was saying that they thought that this whole intro was cringe.
Well, yeah, I mean, that's why it's a good, yeah, right. That's a good reflection of who we are. I don't feel like that's a problem at all.
I mean, I own my cringe.
Yeah.
I feel that's my identity. I am cringe. I really do not appreciate being erased in my cringe identity.
I think that's been my Twitter, or X background, profile background for a long time. It's this picture of a Buddha. It's like a meme. Have you seen this?
No.
It's like Buddha. It's like Buddha sitting there and he's talking to a whole group of admirers. And he says, do not kill the part of you that is cringe. Kill the part that cringes.
Did the Buddha say that?
No.
What?
It's a meme. No, Megan.
I'm joking. Jesus
Megan.
Christ,
Megan. I bought it. I bought it. I don't.
Jesus Christ.
That's why we need
Jesus
you. But
Christ talked a lot about cringe also. He said,
where did it come from?
I don't know. When did people start saying cringe?
I don't know. Does it mean uncool? Does it just, is that just what it means?
It just means embarrassing. But the thing is, everything is cringe.
It just means embarrassing. I'm embarrassed for you. And that is why I'm cringing at your thing. That's what it is. It's secondhand embarrassment.
Yeah. And I mean, I guess it's and it couldn't exist without social media. I mean, it's kind of like cope. I want to have another conversation where we talk about cope. Well, I know. I think we could devote a whole episode to this potentially because I think about this all the time because you always say it's a cope. And I never heard it really used that way until I started talking to you.
I filter my language a lot, with you. I'm very, I want to be understood. So I don't use a lot of,
words.
Zoomer, very online weirdo words. I don't use them.
I just want to talk about cope sometime because you always say it's a cope.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel like life is a cope.
Everything's a cope. That's why it's a great one. It's so applicable to so many different things. Oh, so you might say, for example, you love to see it. When you hate to see when something horrible happens or something's awful, you say you love to see it. And what it really is that it means the opposite. Or you can say you hate to see it when you secretly love, or even not that secretly love something. Okay. Your enemy, something horrible is happening to your enemy,
Okay, so it's like a Schadenfreude.
You'll say, you hate to see it. And it just means
that's so bitchy.
The reverse. It is, but it's also it's also something that I notice is generational. Yeah. So I feel like it's a generational thing, and that's why I don't use it as have you ever heard of that before? I mentioned did you ever know of anyone who used you love to see it or you hate to see it in the way that
I've never heard that since. Yeah. I've never heard that. If you said that, I would be totally thrown. So I'd appreciate it if you don't.
Okay.
I don't know
yeah. So there's things like that, or just a very slangy way of saying a normal thing that I might resist on this podcast to be
okay.
To be understood by you, to accommodate you, Megan. And I don't feel like you do the same to me. I don't feel like I'm being accommodated.
I do. It just goes right over your head. You don't even know it's happening.
Well, right, but that's what would happen.
Oh, I see.
Were I to do it to you?
I don't respect. No, I know that's true because I'm punching down at you.
Okay.
No, I appreciate it. It's basically the equivalent of a large print font. It's like you're tempering yourself so I can see. We're enlarging the font of this conversation. All right. Well, anyway, this is a special episode for our paying subscribers, in which we are going to answer their questions, asking for advice, seeking advice. Yes?
Okay, and we're going to try to go through all of them, most of them, many of them. So there's not that many because you posted it like a day ago.
Yeah, we put out the call only like about 15 hours ago.
Yeah, so, when we realized we don't have enough to talk about. But whatever. We were definitely prepared. And
we said we were going to do this too. And this is our segment, Do As We Say, our ongoing advice segment.
Yes.
And this is the latest installation.
Okay, so we'll go through. So there's only like 16, I think, excluding the comments to some of them.
Okay.
Or less. But yeah, let's go through them. We can start from the top.
Okay. Any advice on how to use reading time effectively? I'd like to spend less time on Twitter, articles, blogs, etc., and more time on books. Well, this is your wheelhouse.
You should have a book next to the toilet. It's gross, but that's what you should be doing.
Next to the bidet, you mean?
Next to the bidet and the toilet bidet combo. You should have a bidet, first of all. You should have a bidet, and that will help you spend more time on the toilet because it's great. You just stay there and enjoy the wonderful sensations of Japanese toilet seats. But you should. I like to have books in places where I don't have my phone.
You don't bring your phone into the bathroom with you.
I don't bring my phone into the bathroom with me, and like so I can do the book thing. I also listen to a lot of books. That's one way of going about it. I think it does. It depends on the book, but I think it does. Some books are better listened to, I find. And I have done for some books, I have done all three. I have listened, I've read on like a computer, like a computer screen, and I have read the physical book. Not fully every time, but the same book, I have listened to like the same segment, and read the same segment in different formats. And I think it depends on the book. It depends on the medium. It depends on what you're trying to get out of it too, as to how you should be reading it. Maybe we should have like more to say about, like maybe we should have a segment about that because I have like so many thoughts, but they're probably boring to a lot of people. Anyway, how to read, separate out periods where that's all you're doing and you put away your phone. You just have to put away your phone and you have to read a physical book or get a Kindle. I have a Kindle Scribe as well. That's really fun. And that allows me to take notes and write with this like pen type thing. It's really cool. I recommend it. You can also do the thing where you read plus do something else. So I often read plus exercise.
Oh my God.
Like I'm doing like planks and like there's a book underneath me and I'm doing, and I'll be doing a plank or push-ups or something like that.
That's crazy.
Or you can hold a book while you're back, while you're lying flat on your back, but you're doing some exercises with your legs. And if you have like a stationary bike or something like that, you can actually read there too.
I can understand that.
Treadmill's harder because you're moving too much. Like it has to be a stationary bike. It has to be something where your like head isn't bobbing up and down for any reason.
Oh,
God, because you get like motion sickness. You can't,
I see this differently. Doing planks would be hard for me. I think I could do it on
or push-ups,
a Stairmaster if anybody uses those anymore. Push-ups, but then you're
coming closer and further away. Yeah, I there are ways to do that. So I like to stack them. I like to stack my reading time with other things, and that works really well. And I get a lot of reading.
I don't do that. I need to.
I read on my phone too. I read on my Kindle app like crazy. That's a big one. And I read before bed, about 20 minutes, 30 minutes before bed. I'll read a book.
Yeah. I get a little too hyped up if I read before bed because reading sort of stimulates me. And so I find it makes it harder for me to go to sleep, which is why I do Wordle. I think this is all pretty good advice. I would also say if you have a plane flight, do not get on the internet while you're on the plane and read a book.
Just have your book.
It is a way of you're a captive audience to your book there. So that's my little 2 cents.
Always. Okay.
All right.
Next one. What social or political issues did you ladies once feel strongly about that you now see as relatively inconsequential in the grand scheme? Are there any current issues either of you suspect we may look back upon in a similar light?
Well, I don't
take the
know if
lead.
I would see this as relatively inconsequential in the grand scheme, but I used to be a lot more mouthy and opinionated about guns. I was pretty like typical libtard, just thinking that everything would be great if we got rid of all the guns. And I never lived in places where people really had guns, and was not very well informed. So I think, I still think there are too many guns. Don't get me wrong, but I think that there's nothing we can do about it. It's such a total mess.
I was never a gun person, like that intense about it. Yeah. I don't know why. Maybe because I'm from Texas, and it's just been like this is fine.
I don't understand why we need the like AR-15s and that kind of thing. I've had many arguments with people, who swear that like it's idiot proof and it's actually much safer to have an AR-15, and this is what you need to protect your home and get.
Is it AR or is it like AK-15? Like,
I don't know. The automatic rifle, semi-automatic, whatever you're talking about. You're talking about an AK-57 is
okay.
Rambo.
Oh my God.
Look, I have one of those. I'll come clean. I got a Rambo gun myself. But yeah, I don't know. I mean, people are probably going to get mad because I'm saying this, but it's just something that I had very just rote opinions about that I realize it's more complicated now.
It always seemed like a complicated issue to me. That's what I think, that I intuitively felt that. But of course, the school shootings issue it just felt to me that we're not handling the right thing if we're focusing all on guns and not enough on whatever it is that is causing the problem. And our media, they would, in their breathless coverage, definitely made the problem worse. And I was surprised that we don't have like legislation to not talk about it. There are other countries where it's like if a suicide happens, you don't publicize it in the same way you might publicize a suicide in the United States, because there's some evidence that it creates copycats.
Yeah.
And I'm so alarmed by the fact that nobody seems to take this as kind of a social contagion as well. Like after Columbine, we suddenly had way more, and we just have never, it's never really gone away, the school shooting thing. So it's, maybe we should think about how much this is taking space, in the minds of young people, so much so that it even pops up as a possibility if you're antisocial. But
the thing,
of course, there's a gun issue too
because of social media. I mean, like back, Columbine.
That's a different kind of problem. But I think it's a more complicated issue than it appears to be. I think it's not very complicated if you have a bunch of toddlers in the house, or then don't own a gun.
Well, or no, keep it. Look, I mean,
everybody thinks that they have. Like everybody,
I know. I wonder.
Have you ever owned a gun? Would you own up to it on this podcast?
No, okay. I would. I would be a total idiot at using it. But I mean, people have been talking now. I mean, I'm hearing a lot of like podcasters with liberal friends talking about how their friends are talking about getting guns now, especially in the wake of all this anti-Semitism.
Violence, yeah.
I mean, I don't know. That's going to be an interesting conversation, but no, I wouldn't trust myself with a gun. I can't even. I would lose it in the house. Like it's like I can't even find my sunglasses every day. That's what it would be. It'd be like, is it in my bag? Did I leave it?
You would leave it somewhere, and then Hugo would shoot himself accidentally, and that you would never.
Okay, he would.
That might not be an accident.
No. He's like, lady,
you can't give it to him.
Aside.
You can't give him something like that. But I think it's one of those things, like once you have security problems, you start to view guns a little differently, which is kind of my situation. But it's also the case that, if you're in kind of a more rural part of the world, it was always intuitive to me that you would want your own guns because the police are really far away. Yeah. Yes. You can call them and it'll take them a little while to get to you. So
it's definitely a luxury belief that nobody needs a gun.